welcome to Scotiabank Concacaf League Round of 16 action. We come to you from La Chorrera in Panama. Estadio Sanchez, the site, as Universitario looks to make its pass past Diriangin of Nicaragua. They have a massive advantage as we enter the second leg. Mike Watts with you, so glad you could be along. This is a giant game for Universitario, and that Panama is hoping that this is a team that can lead them to the promised land of a major continental trophy. It's 81 degrees with a 22% chance of rain in the forecast and just a slight wind. It's better conditions than when these teams met last week in Alajuela. The Nicaraguan side, Diriangin, unable to host at home due to the ongoing conflict occurring in Nicaragua, and they fell harshly in the opening leg. A look at the road to the final, and in the upper left corner you'll see maybe the most competitive of all of the opening round games. I'm speaking, of course, of Herediano and Santa Tecla. That has been competitive, and those are two of the favorites in this tournament. Universitario and Diriangin may well see them in the next round. It does look like Universitario, though, a 4-0 victory last week to really set the tone in this tournament, in particular for the nation of Panama. Concacaf League's website with a pretty notable article explaining just how significantly the LPF has moved along in its growth and ability to compete on this continental stage. And in CONCACAF League, it looks like the Panamanians, at least in this first round, have carried most of the momentum. Now for Diriangin, this is a team that's in its first CONCACAF tournament in 21 years, going back to 1997. They arrived by way of a title. They ended up winning in the aggregate over Real Esteli. It was enough to carry the day as they drew on the second leg, and with that final goal coming in the latter stages of that game. On the other side, Universitario's side, that has achieved quite a bit. They did win the playoff after finishing 4th and 6th last year as Chorrillo. This is the amalgamation of 3 different teams, and for Universitario, while they're well known on the continental stage as Chorrillo and as a successful team wearing those familiar bright yellow jerseys, well, they aren't known as Universitario. This is a chance for them to step into the spotlight and maintain not only this current very lopsided result, but send a message. Anytime you can carry wins through a tournament like this, it could help in future seeding as to who gets to host the first and second leg of a ladder round, or it could simply send a message to this entire region. You think back to that opening round game, and it was pretty tight for the majority, but it fell apart in the second half for Diriangin. Moreno scoring from the penalty spot in the 54th, then Villarreal and Nunez scored. Moreno added a second. He was the man of the match in the first leg of this round of 16 match. And it was just simply too much for Diriangin to overcome. The Nicaraguan side playing in unfamiliar grounds in Alajuela, in Costa Rica, due to the continued turmoil in the country of Nicaragua. It's a difficult position for the players who don't know when their league is going to start. It's a disappointing fixture for the home fans. They don't get to host a continental game, a CONCACAF League game, which is what many players in this region ultimately strive for. And ultimately the result was the most disappointing of it all. All that in mind, there's a lot more on the line for individuals, perhaps even more than the team coming over from Diriangin. As you see them there in their black and white jerseys, it's a team that ultimately feels like they have a big commitment to give, and these players do have an opportunity to show off for a much bigger audience than is typical for this Nicaraguan side. And it's not just in the stands, it's much more the people watching alongside you, their teams, organizations around CONCACAF who have their eyes on individuals and this team from Nicaragua, whether they win or lose on the night. It's the round of 16, leg number 2. Universitario trying to settle their pass, while the Nicaraguan side, Diriangin, hopes for one of the most masterful comebacks in CONCACAF League's short history. players meeting with the referees and, well, their opposition for this match. We meet the starters and begin with the home side, Universitario. And Sergio Moreno, after a masterful performance in the opening leg, is in the starting lineup. He had 2 goals against Diriangin last week. He was impressive, but he was far from the only one. Vargas keeps a clean sheet with a couple of significant saves along the way. Jaramillo is an impressive, if not pacey, option. Here are the officials for the game. Danny Parchman of Jamaica, the referee. Nicholas Anderson, Princess Brown work the touchlines as the teams make their way onto the field. Diriangin from Nicaragua, after playing in a neutral site game over 100 years of history, are sending out this lineup in the second matchup of this series through Mauricio Cruz, their manager. Jason Coronel had an impressive opening leg. It wasn't nearly enough. And perhaps most notably, Brandon Mayorga is into the starting lineup. It is a change in goal. The 26-year-old Lester Acevedo is left out. And Mayorga, who debuted at 18, is only 20 years old, finds himself into the starting lineup in a do-or-die game, even if the result right now is quite heavily on the Universitario side. The available subs for either side, it is a different available backup keeper for Universitario than the first leg, and Cal Gamboa is new to the lineup as well. Hinstrosa is an option off the bench attacking-wise. Pedrinho, number 19, for Diriangin is only available off the bench. He did start and go more than a half in the first leg. He was one of their better attacking threats, the Brazilian. So the keepers off to their corners. It's a long, long climb for Diriangin if they're to turn this thing on its head. They need 4 road goals. Even think of sending this to penalties. Will they be called upon? Will Universitario secure their pass into the quarterfinal? From just west of Panama City in Panama, Universitario at home, taking on Diriangin of Nicaragua. Well, this round of 16 has been a real boon for this Panamanian nation. Phenomenal results. Tauro over Real España. Universitario blowing out Diriangin. And Rabanito, a 3-0 victory over Arnett Gardens of Jamaica. But there's only 1 week down. Diriangin on the ball, hoping they can turn this thing early. Cornell lined up. Torres! He missed it to the left. That would have turned this entire conversation around in the opening minute. Well, Torres knew he was striking just as soon as he took a glance. And he sends Vladimir Vargas, the 38-year-old netminder, flinging to the side. Well, Vargas is the aged goalkeeper for sure. Bounces up a bit here. Cornell, Torres, Garcia will run long and get put out to touch. Running forward, Avila. Nino falls kindly.
Here's Welcome.
It's a goal kick, and it's an inspired start.
Checking in, draws the double team. By far the most dangerous striker on this Belmopan roster. And SC Motagua not going to let Big Georgie Welcome get any opportunities that he shouldn't necessarily have otherwise. Long throw in, Welcome trying to help it along. He does so. James is in the area, as is Sanchez. But it squirts through, and Rougier can just see it out of play. But the Belmopan are going to put one in the back of the net. Perhaps a long throw in or set piece might be the best way to do so. So look at Ronnie Sanchez, the 33-year-old from Tela, Honduras. So like Georgie Welcome, familiar with this FC Motagua side and what they've been able to accomplish in Liga Nacional. FC Motagua qualifying for this tournament by way of the 2017 Apertura and 18 Clausura champions. Honduran side on the move for the first time tonight. Good move on the outside. Martinez. Sent forward. Georgie Welcome stumbles, and it goes all the way back for Rougier, the goalkeeper. 30 years of age. Started and played in all 35 games last year. Argentinian keeper. Hails from the same nation as the manager of FC Motagua, Diego Vasquez, who's from San Martin, Argentina. And you can see Diego Vasquez at the bottom of your screen. Salawu thought he was fouled. Comes straight up into the air. Dangerous here for the Belmopan Bandits. Plenty of diving and simulating. Head referee Juan Perez not having any of it. And Ronnie Sanchez just clears it away. Georgie Welcome, Jerome James providing pressure. The Honduran side, excellent football just to be able to settle it down. Mayor Keane. And Salawu, the culprit there, surrendering a free kick to FC Motagua. There's Matias Galvaliz, who put all the strings in the middle of the park for Diego Vasquez's side a week ago and scored a goal in the 76th minute to really seal the deal for Motagua. And Salawu, who was relatively quiet in the first leg, 30-year-old who was born in Nigeria, moved to Brooklyn, New York at a very young age in the United States. Wearing number 6 tonight for Belmopan. Lobbed all the way towards the back post, nodded across, free header. It's won by Belmopan, a little bit of miscommunication. And it's gonna come out the other way, and the foul is called against Carlos Sanchez, or excuse me, that's Lopez. Carlos Sanchez getting an opportunity to come off the bench tonight. Lopez scored the opening goal in the 47th minute, which would prove to be the game winner. Lopez nods it along. And it'll come out the other way as Salawu. A few words for FC Motagua as he runs away. A little bit of a sloppy start to this one. As the referee trying to restore order. 2 number 10s, Galvaliz and Henry Gonzaga going at it. Gonzaga, 33 years old, from Mexico. Here's Ronnie Sanchez, finding the feet of Georgie Welcome. It's an excellent ball. Welcome on the move with some space. Tries to put it on frame, blocked in front. Still with Welcome. No foul called. Salawu, last touch off of FC Motagua. And the Nigerian native trying to play quickly. Salawu has been busy in the opening 7.5 minutes. It's welcome again. Spinning towards the byline. Gets the cross away, but it is cut out. Galvaliz sends it the opposite direction. Trying to bring it down was Roberto Moreira. Didn't necessarily end up on the score sheet, Moreira, but did a lot of good things for SC Motagua in the first leg, holding up play and whatnot. Marcelo Santos going out wide and receiving it back in the middle of the park. Trying to dump it in behind. Cut out by Trevor Lennon. And good pressure from Walter Martinez. Well, as we saw in the first leg, Georgie Welcome, whenever he was faced with any sort of physical confrontation, more times than not would go down. He did not receive the calls that he wanted from the referee in the first leg, whether some of those were warranted, up to the discretion of the referee, but for the most part, a frustrating night for number 9. This one is lofted forward and handled easily by Shane Orio. He's made some stops in Costa Rica as well as the Belizean national team and has done well wherever he's gone. Sent in behind, Gonzaga, able to get there. Back for Welcome. First time delivery. Knocks off an FC Motagua defender and Henry Figueroa. But Rougier collects it. Jerome James, who had a number of opportunities from Belmopan. Big lanky forward up top wearing the blue cleats. Sporting number 15 as FC Motagua on the move again. 10th minute, still no score. Martinez lets it fly. Comes off of Ian Gainer. Now here is Jerome James. Looking for Sanchez. FC Motagua keep it. Matias Galvaliz. Goes out wide for Martinez. And Belmopan can see this out of play, as it is 2-0 on the aggregate in favor of FC Motagua here at Isidoro Beaton Stadium in beautiful Belmopan, Belize, the capital city. Georgie Welcome. Motagua keep it. Matias Galvaliz will wait for the cavalry to arrive in the form of Daniel Maldonado. Did not appear in the first leg, but getting the opportunity to start here tonight. Diego Vasquez trusting the 11 out on the field. As Orio has to come off of his line. Distribution finding Welcome and just knocks it back into play. Sanchez gets ahead to it, but it's a bit too far as Rougier collects. Didn't have to make a ton of saves in the first leg, the Argentinian keeper. Most of the opportunities that Belmopan had were either half chances or not even on frame. Here's Lopez. Early delivery, not a bad one, intended for Moreira. Mayor Keane switching the point of attack. Bernardez. Bernardez once more. And a miscue there from FC Motagua. Belmopan comes away with it. Given right back in the middle of the park to Mayor Keane, 29-year-old from San Pedro Sula. Celebrated his 29th birthday a little less than a month ago on July 13th. Belmopan still trying to connect the dots from the middle of the field towards their strikers, Ronnie Sanchez, Jerome James, and Georgie Welcome. All of whom try to stay as high as possible. They are down 2-0 on the aggregate. Gonzaga won't be able to get there. Lopez bringing it down. Cavaliers lays it off. Meyer Keane cleans it up. Lopez once more. Good delivery in all the way towards the back post, and Orio can see it over the bar. It was Walter Martinez. Great opportunity for SC Motagua to get a third goal, an away goal, and virtually put this to bed before it even starts. So you can see the mistimed header there from Trevor Lennon, the center back. Really exposed keeper Orio, and almost left the net gaping. Foul called against Georgie Welcome, another set piece for FC Motagua. FC Motagua, founded almost 90 years ago to the day, back on August 29th, as Lopez gets towards the byline, eerily similar to how FC Motagua scored their second goal back in Tegucigalpa. Welcome, looking for the big ball over for Ronnie Sanchez, but he's offside. Bernardes. Marcelo Santos. Matias Galvaliz. And here's a look at that offsides call. Didn't exactly get to see it when the ball was played and where Ronnie Sanchez was. Welcome, trying to return pass for Gonzaga. It leaves Belmopan exposed. But Galvaliz wisely playing out of pressure. Bernardes. Well, for the most part, this is what the first leg looked like. FC Motagua dominating in possession. Although Shane Orio, by this point, had probably already made 6 or 7 saves. So yet to make one here tonight, as Lopez couldn't get there, cleared away by the captain, Dalton Eiley. Eiley, 34 years of age, wearing number 13 for Belmopan in red. Stan Creek Belize, one of the number of veterans on this Kent Gray side. Galvaliz is looking to dump it over the top for Lopez. Georgie Welcome, finding Salawu. Looking for the big ball over for Jerome James, who's giving chase. Bernardes able to get there and play back to Rougier. You can see at times that Belmopan do have some space, but they'd rather take a more direct route, feeling that they have a physical advantage in terms of speed and height over this FC Motagua side, which they do. But that final pass, that big ball, which can be oh so difficult to play, continues to elude them. Galvaliz. Oh, it's excellent football from FC Motagua. Gabaliz again. Walter Martinez finding Lopez. Looking to take on the defenders. Patience from FC Motagua until that moment right there. The shot not even close to the frame from Walter Martinez. He's in his second season with FC Motagua. Helped into those championships in the 2017-18 season, which have gotten them to this point, qualifying for the Concacaf League. Is a long-range effort from Moreira. Sails well over the bar. There was a look at that crisp ball movement and people movement from Diego Vasquez's side. Well, as it stands, it'll be FC Motagua moving into the quarterfinals. Ball sent forward, intended for Ronnie Sanchez. Sounded like it took a deflection, which indeed it did, and that's why Juan Perez is pointing in the favor of Belmopan. Sanchez not happy that the defender ran away with the ball. As that conversation continues. Sanchez, the Honduran. Early delivery, shouts for a handball, and they're given. Good free kick opportunity here for the home side, Belmopan. Gonzaga on top of the free kick for Belmopan. The captain. It's a great delivery in. Well read by FC Motagua. Given right away though. However, Belmopan gets stuck with it. Here's Gabaliz going the other way. Great ball forward for Lopez. Martinez running with him. Lopez towards the back post. And broken up. Good defensive work from Belmopan in transition. Gonzaga, the Mexican, looking for an option. James. Gonzaga lost it and is fouled, and it'll come out the other way. Welcome up for the flick on. James couldn't quite get there. His run was coming a little bit too far away. And Rougier scoops it up. The winner of this round of 16 match will go ahead and play the winner of Santos de Guapiles and Portmore United. Santos from Costa Rica, Portmore of Jamaica in the Red Stripe Premier League. Portmore with a 2-1 lead on aggregate after the first leg, which was surprising to a lot of people. As Santos got all the way to the final of this tournament a year ago against Olympia and forced the Honduran Giants into penalties. Sanchez, met by an FC Motagua defender yet again in Daniel Maldonado. Here's Bernardes, along for Moreira, working on Trevor Lennon. Lennon with a good tackle, but Moreira will keep it. Bernardes trying to get it back for Martinez somehow. Played it in a positive fashion as Trevor Lennon sends it away. Almost 22 minutes in here in the capital city of Belize. No score between Belmopan and FC Motagua in the second leg. Motagua leading 2-0 on aggregate after their result in Tegucigalpa a week ago. Ian Gaynor with a good challenge. Bernardes, it remains in his possession. Gonzaga, good first touch for Sanchez. Salawu gives it away. Galvaliz, a little too anxious trying to win the ball back. He was excellent in the first leg. Trevor Lennon sends the free kick away, hoping for Georgie Welcome. Here's Sanchez, top of the box, lets it fly, and well over the crossbar. Sometimes you get the feeling that Belmopan, whenever they're in the area, they feel as if they won't get another opportunity, and that's why you see a lot of times their strikers snatching at the ball. With FC Motagua dominating in the possession category, there is part of that theory that's true. But I'm sure Kent Gray would like to see his side a bit more patient in the attacking third, as he looks on at the bottom of your screen. James with a good challenge. Ronnie Sanchez stays down. Sanchez shakes it off. Here's Galvaliz. Tries to get it over for Lopez. Orillo. Cannot understate his performance a week ago back in Tegucigalpa. Had 9 saves in the first half alone. Would go on to make double-digit saves. And a couple of them were point blank. And to be quite honest, mind-boggling. Welcome gets ahead to it. Sanchez bringing it down. Gets the cross away. James had an opportunity for the diving header. Wasn't expecting the quality of the service to be that high. Take another look at the teasing ball in from Sanchez. And actually I looked for a moment that James might have gotten held up by Clifox Bernandez. Lennon skirts away from trouble in the form of Galvaliz. Rougier sends it out of play. And Belmopan with some sustained pressure here in the 26th minute. Boy, that is just a picturesque Belizean shirt from Mr. Gray. Welcome with pressure. Lopez claiming last touch was off of Welcome. But to no avail. It'll remain with Belmopan. Salawu. Galvaliz with a great turn under pressure on the edge of his own penalty area, no less. Lopez keeps it in play. Check comes from Morera. Lost control of it, but trying to regain it back. Galvaliz and Morera run into each other. And Salawu with a very late challenge. Just letting Galvaliz know he was there, and as a result, shown mustard here in the 27th minute. .30-year-old, as we mentioned, born in Nigeria, moved to Brooklyn, attended actually SUNY Cobleskill. It's a state university in New York, playing collegiate soccer, and then transferred to Binghamton. Also a state university of the great state of New York. Great veteran presence to have in the middle of the park. He's always capable of putting in those bone-crunching tackles that at times can be cause for disciplinary action, but other times are clean. And it can really rattle the opposition mentally and physically. Meanwhile, FC Motagua, in the 28th minute with a very good opportunity here from the set piece. Gavali standing over it. Handled by Salawu. And Orio claims it to be his own. This is very much what we expected from FC Motagua. Rolling out a lineup that maybe not necessarily wasn't their best, especially with the game over the weekend, 3 games in the past 7 days, as well as a 2-0 lead on aggregate, coming into unfamiliar territory here in Belize. They've gone forward and they've had possession, but they haven't shelled the numbers forward that we saw in the first leg back at Tegucigalpa. Here's Zaldivar. Excuse me, that's Galvaliz. And it'll remain with the Honduran club. And Lopez unable to keep it as there was a solid challenge put in from Dalton Eiley, the captain. No remorse from Mr. Eiley. Jerome James challenging the header. The last touch coming off of Martinez. Sanchez trying to bring it down. Welcome. Able to pressure just enough so that it falls for Indy Gonzaga. Bernardez gets it away. Orio wanted it. Galvaliz almost got it away. Gonzaga. Georgie Welcome. Holding up play, but directing traffic in a negative fashion. Lennon. Belmopan caught in a bit of trouble. Lopez gets it along. Galvaliz. And Orio can see it wide. But very good pressure from the Honduran club as Belmopan were scrambling to play out of their own end, but surrounded by a slew of blue jerseys. And it almost resulted in a 3rd goal on the aggregate and an away goal here in the capital of Belize. Sanchez tripped up from behind by Montez. It'll come out the other way in favor of the Bandits. See there were shouts for a handball. So you can see Dalton Eiley's hand going up right away. Galvaliz. Well, opportunities aren't going to come like that every single time down the field. Lopez. Maldonado. Jerome James bringing the service down and eventually cleared away by Shane O'Rio, 37-year-old veteran keeper. Sanchez has taken a number of knocks tonight. Sanchez. It's a clean challenge, says the referee. From Henry Figueroa. Lopez. Cavaliers gets it back for him. Now Lopez over the top. Challenge in the box. No call from the referee. Last touch off of FC Motagua. Kenya might have gotten away with one there. As Mayor Keane slow to get up. Now that the referee has deemed Mayor Keane to be okay physically, Shane O'Rio wanted to get going on the other end. And really not much in that. Good ball lofted forward. Welcome trying to bring it down. Figueroa coming away with it. And Cavaliers, as he so often does, the puppet master. In the middle for Diego Vasquez as Lopez is fouled. Salawu again, and needs to be careful. Already on a yellow card. Belmopan Bandits. Martinez, Hector Martinez, that is, sent off in stoppage time in the first leg. That's why he's unavailable for tonight's match. FC Motagua were on the move, if not for a good challenge from Lennon. Lennon again, up for the header. Georgie welcome first to the ball. But it remains with Figueroa. Belmopan continue to be on their heels with their backs against the wall, down 2-0 on aggregate. FC Motagua is still in search of that third goal, and a goal that would really put this out of reach and would force a 4-1 result on a Belmopan if they were going to advance, as the handball is called against Walter Martinez. Ball given away by FC Motagua again. Lopez this time, coughing it up. Georgie welcome, frustrated with the lack of movement from his running mate, Ronnie Sanchez. Humberto Requena running up for the throw-in. Georgie Welcome trying to help it along. Figueroa, first to it. Requena again. Numbers in the box. Figueroa, once again, not allowing for that final piece of the puzzle to be forced in by the home side, Belmopan. Welcome gets ahead to it again. And Lopez clears it away. Only as far as Gainer, who goes for goal, but Rougier keeps it in play. One other game going on right now in the Scotiabank Concacaf League. And it's Universitario at the moment with a 2-0 lead in the second leg. Over the Orangen. That makes it 6-0 on aggregate in that matchup. Universitario very much headed on to the quarterfinals. They will await the winner of Herediano and Santa Tecla, who played a fabulous game in the first leg. Junior Diaz, Costa Rican international, coming away with the lone goal in that affair in Heredia. And they'll head back to El Salvador for the second leg on Thursday. Pardon me, that match is going to be tomorrow at 10 p.m. See Motagua lose it again. Belmopan doing a good job of drawing that line in the sand right after midfield. Not allowing FC Motagua to be too comfortable in Belmopan's defensive third or defensive half for that matter. But still, don't look as connected as they should be on the attacking side. As Requena has to go all the way back. Eiley, not with his best delivery. Walter Martinez comes away with it. Martinez towards the byline, tripped right at the edge of the area. And a dangerous set piece coming up from about 19 yards out for FC Motagua, the Honduran side. And a yellow card issued to Ian Gainer. Participated in the 2013 Gold Cup with Belize. And tripping up Martinez. He's able to wrong foot the defender with a nice little step over. So Gainer and Salawu both on yellow cards for Belmopan as we're in the 42nd minute now. Galvaliz awaits. Juan Perez still organizing in the box, making sure that everything is clean. Galvaliz, Oreo comes away with it. First big save of the night for the Belizean keeper. And Sanchez can't quite hang on to it. Shot was relatively low from Galvaliz. And you can see the couple of players in the FC Motagua uniforms in the light blue who are mixed in with the Belmopan wall. Got out of the way at the last second as he was trying to pick out that far post, but Oreo making a big save, and now a free kick in favor of Belmopan on the other end as bodies continue to hit the deck here in the capital city of Belize. Gonzaga on top of the free kick again for Kent Gray's side. So one set piece on the FC Motagua side turns into another for Belmopan as Georgie Welcome just got completely bulldozed over. Gonzaga sends it in. Welcome was there, still loose in the box. Welcome back on his feet. His shot just skipping wide. All it takes is one from Belmopan, and it completely changes the complexion of this affair. Kent Gray continues to look on, continuing to find ways to try and help out his side to get that first goal. At the moment, it's FC Motagua standing strong whenever Belmopan seem to threaten, and the only times that they have threatened have been by way of a long throw-in or a free kick. FC Motagua expected to go through, expected to do well in this tournament. Can they live up to those expectations? Bernardes, plenty of space. Plays it along for Walter Martinez. Early delivery, comes in, skirts all the way through, it's off the post. That's how teasing of a ball it was. Galvaliz just seemed to let it run through. Here he is on the ball again. Santos thought about it. Bernardes back over for Ramirez.
Ladies and gentlemen, the fourth official on the sideline has indicated that there will be
Galvaliz.
a minimum of 1 minute added time.
Martinez will have 1 minute of stoppage time here in Belmopan. Galvaliz again. He'll let it fly. Oreo, another save. This is eerily similar to how the first leg went down in the first half, with FC Motagua dominating possession, dominating virtually every statistic there is. Still not coming away with a goal. It only took Lopez 2 minutes into the second half to find what would be the eventual game winner in the first leg. That ball in from Walter Martinez was delectable. And nobody from FC Motagua getting a touch to it. And thus allowing the delicacy to pass them by as Juan Perez says that's enough for the first half. From the capital city of Belize, Belmopan Bandits trailing 2-0 on aggregate. FC Motagua halfway home to the quarterfinals. Chenorio, Requena, and the rest of Kent Gray's side have some work to do in the second half. We've had a couple of close calls by way of set pieces and long throw-ins, but really not much to write home about for either team. As FC Motagua have been rather conservative in their efforts, and why not? They're up 2-0 on aggregate, and they're 45 minutes away from moving on to their first ever quarterfinals of a Scotiabank Concacaf League. 0-0 at the half in the second leg, 2-0 on aggregate to the Honduran side. We'll be back in a few moments.
to the wrist.
Vas por arriba y bajas. Detrás de las aguas no, porque detrás agarro. ¿Quieres agua, Juan o coca? Agua. Dos aguas, ¿no? Ahí arriba en una casa. Dile a René, ¿sabes?
Well, almost set for the second half here in Belmopan Bandits, and we are going to have a substitute at halftime, and it's going to be number 12, Tremaine Harris, who was the first substitute used back in the first leg for Kent Gray. 21-year-old from St. Ignacio Town came on, provided a lot of pace, provided some good hold-up play. Will get an opportunity to run around for 45 minutes here and perhaps help this Belmopan side get a goal and then perhaps a second. But first, they need the first, and they're going up against an FC Motagua side who has been stout at the defensive end. They've dominated possession. And quite honestly, they have complete control of this affair. But all it takes is one opportunity from the Bandits taken cleanly, which you really can't say that they've done over the past 135 minutes of play dating back to the first leg. Meanwhile, Rougier and FC Motagua, this is similar to the first leg in the sense that they dominated play but didn't get a goal in the first half. It took 2 minutes for Lopez to be able to get the goal in the first leg, in the first 2 minutes of the second half. What does FC Motagua, the Honduran club, have in store here in the second half of this second-legged affair? We'll have to wait and find out. Juan Calderon Perez appears to be ready. We hope you're as well. Tyler Terran's on hand. So glad that you can join us. As FC Motagua 45 minutes away from heading on to the Scotiabank Concacaf League quarterfinals, where they will await the winner of Santos de Guapiles and Portmore United, Costa Rican and Jamaican sides respectively, as we're officially underway from the second half here in the capital city of Belize. FC Motagua moving from right to left in their blue kits. Belmopan Bandits moving in the opposite direction, you guessed it, from left to right in their red kits. And it was Tremaine Harris coming on and replacing Gonzaga, who is the captain of this side and central midfielder, but he did not have control of the middle of the park, if we're being completely fair, as that is really well done on the near side from Marcelo Santos. Not only the back heel, but nutmeg the player on the way in order to keep the ball. Walter Martinez gives it away. Georgie Welcome again kept quiet in the first half here in Belize, as he was for the 90 minutes back in Tegucigalpa. Velasquez goes back for Trevor Lennon. Good distribution, trying to find Harris. The header won. And now FC Motagua on their way. Lopez dropping towards the byline. Has Lennon beat for pace, tries to get it across. Lennon gets a touch. And the first corner of the second half coming up for FC Motagua. Honduran side up 2-0 thanks to goals from Lopez and Galvaliz in the 47th and 76th minutes respectively back in the first leg. They've gone another 45 minutes without scoring here in the second. Looking to change all that, perhaps in the 47th minute again. Corner sent in, it's loose in front, and the header from Lopez cleared away almost on cue. It was Lopez getting a goal in the 47th minute, but it was too good to be true. You can hear Ken Gray encouraging his side to step up to the ball. Salawu wins it. Jerome James sending it forward, hoping Ronnie Sanchez will be able to run onto it. Montez takes the easy way out, and a long throw-in coming up for Belmopan, where they appear to be the most dangerous in the first 45 minutes. Montez, remember, the only member of the back line who started in the first leg to start here in the second leg. Diego Vasquez going with a much different lineup. There were a couple of players who got some rest in their Liga Nacional game. Galvaliz got the complete night off, didn't appear. Lopez, Vega, and Melendez. Melendez and Lopez, who both started in the first leg midweek, were used only for about 55 minutes, as the throw-in never gets past the first defender. Salawu challenging, gambling, losing. And now it's Morera coming on the other end, but Belmopan sprinting to get back behind the ball. As you can see, they just form a wall of red. But given away, it's Tremaine Harris. Look at the pace from the youngster. On the move, taken down, and a free kick for Belmopan, and that's exactly what Harris brought on in the first leg. Continuing his fine substitute play here in the second. See him just taking that touch inside, putting himself between the ball and the onrushing defender, Walter Martinez. Khalil Velasquez, the 32-year-old, bends it in. Georgie Welcome, not to back across. Harris bringing it down, still loose in front. Ian Gainer sends it on frame, but easy work for Rougier. Well, Belmopan certainly had their opportunities. Diego Vasquez, sixth-year manager, 47-year-old from San Martin, Argentina, looking on. And about 40 minutes away from moving on in this terrific tournament. 2018 Scotiabank Concacaf League. Previous champions, Olympia of Honduras. Perhaps it'll be another Honduran side to hoist the trophy at the end of all of this madness. Flicked along by Sanchez. Figueroa doesn't get a full clearance to it, and Rougier off of his line. Easy work for a keeper who really hasn't had to make a save tonight, with the exception of the slow trickling shot you saw just a few moments ago. Galvaliz. Here's Montez. 32-year-old from Sulaco in his 6th season. 16 caps for the Honduran national team. He's played all 90 minutes in every single match thus far in the 2018 season for FC Motagua and Diego Vasquez, as Martinez tripped up by Ian Gainer. And another set piece coming up for Ciclón Azul. Translation, and basically the only Spanish I know, the Blue Cyclone. Here's Martinez. Had a delicious ball played in the first half that knocked off the post. As this one brought down, the shot just over the bar. Oreo, lucky to see that one fly over the frame. It was a good effort nonetheless from Maldonado. One substitute used already for Kent Gray. That was Tremaine Harris coming off for Gonzaga at the half. 3 substitutes remain for Diego Vasquez, as you get another look at just how close FC Motagua were for making it 3-0 on aggregate and giving them a very important away goal that'll certainly put this out of reach if it is to come to fruition. Morera called for the foul. Certainly is an imposing physical figure, Morera. 31-year-old from Paraguay. Welcome gets it along for Harris. Big touch in negative fashion. And Georgie Welcome and Tremaine Harris not exactly on the same page. There's Mayor Keane trying to send Lopez the other way. Bulldozing over Trevor Lennon. Ball sent in towards the back post. Martinez bringing it down, and a big deflection at the back from the captain, Dalton Eiley. Saving the day for Belmopan and keeping it a 2-goal game. Meanwhile, for Martinez, wishing that he had that moment back. You can see it was a terrific ball in. And the Bandits scrambling for defensive position. Part of me, that was Ian Gainer with the deflection. Galvaliz kept it in play. Jerome James sends it the other way. Sanchez providing pressure. Montez. Maldonado. All the way back for Rougier. Galvaliz, bit of a heavy first touch, big collision. Referee says play on. Georgie Welcome gets it wrong for Salawu. But Salawu is stripped. Mayor Keane over for Lopez. Trying to bend it in behind the defense. More contact. More play allowed from the referee. Here's Marcelo Santos. Still a bit shaken up as Matias Galvaliz. Maestro in the middle for Diego Vasquez. Lopez bends it in again. Morera looking for it. And Oreo just sees it over the bar. As it sounds like we have a single Vuvuzuela here at Isidoro Beaton. Welcome gets it along. Sanchez can't get there. Bernardes. Martinez trying to skip away from 3 red jerseys, able to do so and win the free kick. Welcome just checking on number 8, Walter Martinez. Loose in front, it's in! It's Morera! FC Motagua with an away goal, with a 3-goal lead, and surely now with a ticket into the quarterfinals. As quickly as that, FC Motagua in the 56th minute. Just an innocent ball sent forward. Poorly handled, took a deflection, and Morera buries it into the far corner. The ball sits up for him perfectly. Maldonado waiting, and waiting with all the time that he was allotted. And it actually looks like it hit off the hand of Roberto Morera. Well, a little bit of controversy here in the capital of Belize, but FC Motagua taken in stride, and Morera buries his first goal of the tournament. And FC Motagua well on their way to the next round of the 2018 Scotiabank Concacaf League. So now for Belmopan, after conceding an away goal and not scoring one of their own in Tegucigalpa, would now need 4 unanswered goals. Galvaliz, could the floodgates be opening here at Isidora Beaton Stadium? Lopez trying to get away from Salawu. Galvaliz trying to muscle off Georgie Welcome, but he welcomes the challenge and wins a free kick. And a challenge from Jerome James, bit overzealous. Is Rougier a bit shaken up? Looks like there will be a yellow card issued to Jerome James. And there's going to be medical attention needed for the Argentinian keeper, as James really not going for the ball by any stretch of the imagination. See if he in fact catches Rougier in the face with that elbow. He does. That's a naughty play from number 15. But he's been warned. So we mentioned before, FC Motagua, 3-0 lead on aggregate as Rougier continues to get tended to. And the Honduran side awaits the winner of Portmore United of Jamaica and Santos de Guapiles of Costa Rica. Portmore, the Jamaican side, with a 2-1 lead on aggregate. That game will be played Thursday night. Rather earlier kickoff compared to the usual 8 o'clock and 10 o'clock slots that the CONCACAF League has had at 7:30 on August 9th. Tune in to see what should be a electric second leg. Universitario still with a 2-0 lead over Diraganan. He leads 6-0 on aggregate. Tremaine Harris unable to get there. Velasquez able to draw the foul and then win the free kick. Mayor Keane making sure that Belmopan can't play it too quickly. Salawu was trying to get going the other way. Looks to be Khalil Velasquez standing on top of the free kick. Georgie, welcome. Getting to know Lopez just a bit better. And perhaps sharing where they're going out to have maybe an adult beverage or two after the game. Although I highly doubt it. Velasquez trying to put it on frame wasn't a terrible idea, but sails over the bar. Ball's intended for Moreira, who's the goal scorer. Goal coming in the 56th minute, although a bit of controversy attached to it, as it appeared to pop up on the Paraguayan striker's hand. Tremaine Harris putting pressure on the FC Motagua back line. Walter Martinez. It's been very solid, both in the first leg and in the second leg here in Belize. Maynard Keane has gotten the opportunity in the middle of the park, shown well. This looks like we are having another substitute get ready for Kent Gray, and it's going to be Luis Torres coming on, 25-year-old. Another foul coming out, 63rd minute. You see Motagua with a 3-0 lead on aggregate. And that goal from Moreira about 7 minutes ago now, really putting the icing on the Concacaf League cake. That is tasting oh so sweet at the moment. But it's just a slice. They're looking for the entire ordeal. And as Jerome James comes off, replaced by Luis Torres.
Substitution, Belmopan Bandits, SC.
Trevor Lennon trying to win it for Belmopan. Salawu Velasquez. Tremaine Harris trying to weave his way out of trouble, but gets his teammates into more. Lopez. Here's Sanchez putting pressure on Montez. But Montez not stymied by the pressure. Balls for Galvaliz. Just a little scoop over the top for Bernardes. Gets to the outside. Gainer commits the foul. And a free kick coming up for the Honduran club. You can see the good play from Bernardes. And Gainer, well, as soon as you put your hands up like that, sort of an admission of guilt. Galvaliz lining up the free kick again for FC Motagua. Really looking to put a bow on it, but Oreo snatches it out of the air and looking to run the other way. Here's Luis Torres getting his first touch of the night. See a substitute getting ready for Diego Vasquez's side. It's Rubio Castillo. Push along for Sanchez, able to get there, stumbles, falls, invisibly upset with himself. See the ball taking a nasty bounce on this artificial surface here at Isidoro Beaton Stadium. Oreo finding Gainer, got caught in a little bit of trouble. Morera. And it's going to be a free kick again for Diego Vasquez's side. As Belmopan starting to get a little chippy, down 3-0 on aggregate, including an away goal in the 56th minute from Roberto Morera that they feel they were a little hard done by. And that substitute making their way onto the field now. Castillo did not appear in the first leg coming on here. Not a back across. Velasquez gets it away. Merquin tries to send it across. And Morera, the goal scorer, was replaced by Castillo. It was Roberto Morera, number 21, who came out. And his work certainly valued by FC Motagua. Goal in the 56th minute. Galvaliz. Chris moving for FC Motagua. Comes back over for Matias Galvaliz. And the big switch over. Opportunity to be picked off by Tremaine Harris, but brought down beautifully by Daniel Maldonado. Lopez trying to cut to the inside. Velasquez committing the foul. Or rather, it was Requena. He's claiming that he got the ball. On Perez, claiming differently. And Lopez still down on the turf here in the capital city of Belize. As we mentioned before, smallest capital city in the continental Americas, at least by population. Census taken in 2010. Just a shade under 14,000 residents in Belmopan. Another substitute getting ready to come on in the form of Norman Anderson, 21-year-old local boy in his first season. Now 21 minutes in there. Premier League of Belize season opener against Defense, a 5-3 win back on July 22nd. As this ball lofted in, not a back across, loose in front. Castillo is there, but Oreo comes away with it. And Juan Calderon Perez just making sure that there's no more physical contact to be had, and good sportsmanship from Rubio Castillo, helping out the veteran keeper. And Castillo just frustrated with himself that he wasn't able to get his first goal of the Scotiabank Concacaf League here in 2018. Great idea from Montez just to send it back across, and how important was that touch from Dalton Eiley? As it's going to be Ronnie Sanchez coming off and replaced by the aforementioned substitute Norman Anderson. And Ronnie Sanchez might have felt like he had some chances pass him by throughout this first and second leg fixture. Anderson getting his first touch. Gets it over for Torres. Belmopan on the move. Anderson the header. And an easy work for Rougier. But as a substitute, can't ask for much more than getting involved on a half chance just moments after coming on. Well, next up for FC Motagua, they're going to take on another Honduran side who's in this very same tournament, Real España. That game will happen this weekend on August 12th, a Sunday. And Real España making their way through Scotiabank Concacaf League. Let's get a look at the foul there from Requena. He was pushing and shoving going both ways, if we're being completely honest. Real España taking on Tauro of Panama. Tauro with a 1-0 lead after the first leg. As the lone Vuvuzeler here in the capital of Belize continues to make his voice and instrument heard. Here's Lopez trying to get to the outside. Look at the pace. Trevor Lennon committing the foul. And that was really the only option that he had as we've entered the 74th minute. Long way from the 34th minute. And Lopez a bit shaken up from the challenge, and the big man, number 24, Trevor Lennon. Lopez has taken a bit of a beating here. Sometimes that's an occupational hazard, going up against a much larger team, but maybe not a team as quick. There's Wilmer Crisanto coming on. It looks like he is going to replace Lopez. Crisanto, who started in the first leg, he did play some good minutes, coming on here in the 74th.
FC Motagua. Number 34, Kevin Lopez comes out of the game, and in goes number 80, Wilmer Crisanto.
Here's Castillo, first substitute used by Diego Vasquez. Crisanto just coming in the second. Walter Martinez, recently fouled. He was first to foul. It's Tremaine Harris. Figueroa, one of those three defenders who's making the start along the back line for Diego Vasquez, who did not make the starting 11 in the first leg back in Tegucigalpa. Crisanto bends it in. Castillo got a touch to it, but Oreo can see it out of play. As we just have a little bit more than 15 minutes remaining plus stoppage time here in Belmopan at Isidoro Beaton Stadium. In this leg, it's Roberto Moreira with the lone goal in the affair. Back in the 56th minute, that was to make it 3-0 on aggregate. Fox Bernardes. Thinked over the top by Walter Martinez, but unable to keep it in play was Bernardes. Just trying a little up, back, through pattern. Velasquez clearance straight into Galvaliz. Castillo keeping it. And a handball against Belmopan. Crisanto. Marroquin tries to get it across. Salawu with good defensive play, playing in that holding central midfielder role. Santos, Galvaliz, weaving his way through. He is clipped by Khalil Velasquez, and it is going to be mustered for number 11 here in the 77th. How good is Galvaliz on top of the ball? 29 years of age. From Rosario, Argentina. Put back into play. Marcelo Santos. Galvaliz, as you mentioned before, from Rosario, Argentina. Just about a 3.5-hour ride from Diego Vasquez's San Martin, Argentina. San Martin in the Buenos Aires province of Lionel Messi's home country of Argentina, Rosario in the Santa Fe province. Rosario, the same city as Lionel Messi, and as our outstanding producer Brian Sevilla just pointed out to me, his home country as well. Well, a lot of bodies hitting the floor at the moment, and the ball having to be played out. It looks like it's Crisanto. Requena motioning over to Juan Calderon Perez that he does need some medical attention, as Diego Vasquez having a conversation with his third and final substitute. And it appears to be number 23, Jacques-Jean Baptiste. And Crisanto just having come on. Last thing you would want to see is a substitute being used for a substitute. And you see Crisanto motioning over and going down. So perhaps the stretcher will be needed, but most definitely the substitute will be used for Crisanto, who seemingly has tweaked something. And the Fountain of Youth, just a little bit of agua being shared amongst the two teams. Crisanto gingerly stepping off of the field. And that could prove to be vital for Diego Vasquez's side. He did start in the first leg, as we mentioned, and now going to be subbed off just moments after coming on. Crisanto, who came in the 74th, subbed off in the 81st. Just a 7-minute work night. Something our producer Brian Sevilla knows way too much about.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Into the 82nd minute.
substitution for FC
Still a 3-0 lead on aggregate for FC Motagua.
number 18,
Challenged by Marcelo Santos. It's a good one. Marroquin can't get there. Falls for Dakena. Tremaine Harris stopped in his tracks. Well, the minutes are certainly being managed by Diego Vasquez. Galvaliz given the night off in their Liga Nacional match against Progreso, in which they lost 2-0. Then one of the better players in Carlos Sanchez getting the night off here in Belmopan midweek. And just making sure that they're prepared for the quarterfinals and for Liga Nacional play in the coming weeks. We do take a break next week in between the round of 16 and the quarterfinals, but resume action the week after. And that's when the quarterfinals will begin. You can almost guarantee that FC Motagua will be there at this point, barring a collapse of epic proportions. But anything can happen, as we've seen in UEFA Champions League over the past couple of years. There's been some fantastic comebacks, including Roma over Barcelona in the most recent edition of the Champions League. Haven't seen anything quite like it in Concacaf just yet. As Bernardes bends it in, Oreo lines it up and makes the play. Don't forget, Juventus almost completing the comeback against Real Madrid in this year's Champions League as well, with that controversial penalty being called. Santos somehow brings it down. A little two-man game with Bernardes. And it's really just cruise control here for FC Motagua. Academic, if you will. Santos. You can see the Honduran club in no rush to send numbers forward. Not trying to expose themselves. Walter Martinez finding Santos again. Martinez sends it out wide. Ball lobbed in. Jack-John Baptiste, his header. Collected by Oreo. Universitario now with a 3-0 lead. Their engine down 7-0 on aggregate, as that matches in the 83rd minute as well. Perez Zeledon and Foss, the late matchup tonight at 10 o'clock, which is just in about 14 minutes time. Walter Ferretti and Club Franciscan will play the second leg. Club Franciscan, the amateur side, who won the Caribbean Club Shield and then had to beat Central of Trinidad and Tobago just to qualify for the Concacaf League, have a 1-0 lead in that tie. Thanks to Johnny Marajo. In the second half, a toe poke goal that snuck inside the near post. And the Nicaraguan side just looked completely out of sorts. And quite honestly, you couldn't really blame them, as you see Crisanto continuing to make his way around the field. It took Walter Ferretti over 30 hours to arrive in Martinique, where Club Franciscan is located. Martinique, of course, a French territory. But they'll have an opportunity in the second leg tomorrow night to try to make things right. Jacques-Jean Baptiste lets it fly, but was getting pressured from behind, and that's why the shot didn't necessarily have as much steam on it as the big striker was looking for. And of course, we'll have Santa Tecla and Herediano tomorrow night as well at 10 o'clock, who's some to believe the winner of this edition of Concacaf League will come out of that matchup as Rougier snatches that out of the air. But FC Motagua on the other side of the bracket from Santa Tecla and Herediano very well could meet one of those two teams in the final. Santos de Guapolis, another early season favorite. Portmore United, though, with a 2-1 lead in that affair heading into the second leg. That second leg will be 7:30 on Thursday, August 9th. As we're getting some shouts from the peanut gallery here at Isidoro Beaton Stadium. Jack John Baptiste. Javier Estupinan. Salau fouled. And a free kick coming up for Belmopan, maybe just trying to salvage some pride at this point in the 87th minute. And if I am hearing correctly, it sounds like Diaranjan, in the other match going on right now, just pulled one back against Universitario. But that just makes it 7-1 on aggregate. Tremaine Harris over the free kick for Belmopan. 88th minute. Clearance by FC Motagua. And Mayor Keane only gets it as far as Dalton Eiley. And the offside flag is up. Salau was looking to collect the second ball. And there you can see Georgie Welcome well offside. With his faster years behind him, obviously having to sit on the last defender, but sitting a few feet in front of where he should have been. And Galvaliz is just mesmerizing on the ball. Always has it attached to his foot. Here's Walter Martinez. Long for Bernardes. FC Motagua looking for one more. Towards the back post. Estupinan. Challenged by Requena. Estupinan also used as a substitute in the second half of the first leg. As Galvaliz trots over to the corner, and we're knocking on the door of minute number 90 and minute number 180 of this round of 16 between Belmopan and FC Motagua. Galvaliz's corner. Mayor Keane took it off his chest, but allowed Belmopan to be able to surround him. But the Bandits, their own worst enemy at the moment, continually giving the ball away. Simply has not been their night, has not been the round of 16. And it looks like they will see a similar fate as 2017 and get knocked out in the round of 16. Albeit much closer affair. It was 5-1 to Nicaragua's Walter Ferretti in 2017. At the moment, it's just 3-0. Long throw in from Torres. Knocked away by Santos, and a corner kick coming up for Belmopan. Maybe a goal left for this Bandit side. Looking to steal the clean sheet, or the double clean sheet, from Rougier's hands. As we'll have 3 minutes of stoppage time here in the capital city of Belize. Ball lofted in. Trevor Lennon was there, but as was an FC Motagua defender, making it a little bit more difficult for him.
Ladies and gentlemen, the fourth referee has added 3 minutes minimum injury time.
And Mayor Keane has been impressive in the middle of the park. It's a good opportunity for some of the players who might not get as many minutes as they'd like in their domestic leagues, and for Honduras, that's Liga Nacional, to maybe make a case for themselves. And Mayor Keane has certainly done that as Tremaine Harris gets a hand to it. And contrary to popular belief, you cannot do that in this sport unless you're the goalkeeper throwing the ball in. we're in the 92nd minute and 2nd minute of stoppage time. Walter Martinez. He has been dangerous for FC Motagua. His first goal in the tournament still eludes him. And eludes Ian Gainer, at least for the moment. Galvaliz nipped at from behind and offered a helping hand from Luis Torres. Again, as we mentioned, sometimes comes with the territory of having the ball at your feet that much in the middle of the park. Trevor Lennon, Tremaine Harris bringing it down. Space to play for Belmopan. Harris looking to take on Henry Figueroa. Figueroa gets a touch to it. Harris stays with it. Harris. Figueroa claiming that he extended his forearm. Ball lofted in, but Rougier says, I'll take that. And Salawu trying to pull one of the oldest tricks in the book. This gives a forearm to Galvaliz. And credit to Galvaliz for keeping his head. Seen many a times in this sport that escalate into something more than it should be. And Galvaliz, with the full understanding of the situation at hand and knowing that his side is about 15 seconds away from moving on to the quarterfinals, kept a cool head. And much like he's done when he's been on top of the ball in the middle of the field. Castillo. And that's going to do it. FC Motagua onward and upward into the quarterfinals of the 2018 Scotiabank Concacaf League. Diego Vasquez's side got the aid of a 56th minute goal from Roberto Moreira, the Paraguayan. And that would do it. 3-0 is the final score on aggregate. The Belmopan Bandits, for a second straight year in this contest, ousted in the round of 16. Last year was Walter Ferretti. And this year, it is FC Motagua, and the Honduran club will await the winner of Santos or Portmore United. The final score here from the capital of Belize, 1-0 in favor of FC Motagua in the second leg, 3-0 on the aggregate. We'll talk to you soon.